Hi everybody, welcome to The Ordinary Professor. My name is Dr. Courtney Pegram and I created this space to talk about social skills, emotional intelligence, and all things feelings. Each episode is topic specific, so this episode I wanted to talk about freshmen in college. Yes, a special on back to school. As a professor at Elmhurst University, I had the pleasure and also the honor of teaching first year seminar. It was a great experience for me, not just for the students. I learned a ton about what freshmen were going through and also sometimes how I forget what it's like to be first time in college. So I wanted to come from a perspective of what I understood, some of the advice that my freshman students gave me, and then also give some tidbits and tricks for parents. Why? Because this is a huge period of transition. Not just for your children, but for yourself, right? Having your children go off to college, there's a lot of mixed emotions. Pride, joy, also fear, worry, missing them, right? There could be feelings of guilt. There can be feelings of loss, grieving, the empty nester syndrome, you name them, right? So the idea is we have to separate ourselves as adults, as parents, between what we're feeling and what our children are feeling. So we want to avoid that transference. Now, as a professor at Elmhurst, working with these students, I learned that things have changed since we went to college, right? And post-pandemic, things are still different and hard to adjust to. We also have to remember that our children were typically homeschooled or at home for at least 6 months to a year to 2 years. So sometimes their social skills are not at the level that maybe we were at when we were that age. So that's something important. Also, we didn't have tech the way they have tech. Super crazy, right? But things were very different. So that's an important thing to remember. Also, some of you watching this video, right? You might have incredible professional careers, but you didn't go to college. So you don't know what college is all about, right? So I was a first gen, and then working with first gen students, sometimes they come to school with no idea what to expect, how to manage anything, and it's very overwhelming. So there might be a lot of joy of leaving house, freedom, but also a lot of sense of being overwhelmed, fearful, afraid that like you're not gonna make the perfect first impression, that you're gonna get lost, you're gonna fall behind. Like I've noticed too with college students that there's an increased level of perfectionism and fear of failure. So all that mixed into that bucket, and the freshmen coming in, there's a lot of different emotions, right? So they're called morphing emotions. So I want to talk today about how, as parents, we can manage that, and then what do we do to help support our children. So now that we understand where they're coming from, right? Things are different, everything's new. And you know, some of the students are really far away from college, some live close, some commute. Everyone has a different experience. So do not take away from their experience and their emotions, right? What we want to do is support them. So that's more the emotional management aspect that's really critical. Now, if your child is homesick, right? So things that you want to avoid saying, and you know, we all say it, so I'm not shaming, blaming, or judging anyone, but saying like, oh, just go get out there and go make friends, right? It's not a big deal, right? It is to them. So especially if your child is more introverted, it might be really hard for them to go actually meet people. So having them brainstorm ideas of what they could do. Maybe they go for a walk. Maybe they go talk to their resident director or their RA. Maybe they ask to go to lunch with their roommate, breakfast, dinner, right? So that could be small steps. If they're really homesick, it could be because they were so used to that structure, that repetition, and that environment at home. This new dorm experience is a lot for them. So it could be overstimulation. So having them do things to calm their bodies and calm their minds, such as taking a walk, meditation, journaling, sitting in a quiet space, right? Just taking it all in. So, you know, they could have, the blankets, like the weighted blankets can be really helpful for them too. So those are some strategies just to kind of calm the mind and calm the body. Now, another thing that you want to help your kids with is having them understand that this is a new opportunity. And with new opportunities, even though it's exciting, right, can be also scary, right? Or even if they don't want to do something, if they just try, right? And they overcome that resistance, just give it a shot, right? So what they're doing is they're opening their mind to create more opportunities for themselves, increasing their initiative, and exploring new things, right? Because college is so different, there's a gazillion things you can do. So many clubs you can join, there's activities, there's events, there's initiatives, there's after school sport, like what is it, intramural sports, right? There's art, music, you name it. And it can be a lot, right? Just me listing that out is a lot. So they can just take it one thing at a time. Like maybe they go on the day where they have all the clubs listed and they go just walk around and see the clubs. They might join one, right? Or they go and they attend one event a week. They try to at least eat one meal a day at the cafeteria, so they're engaging with other people. So you can start by small steps. So here's the thing, that all these ideas I'm giving you aren't going to be useful until you identify the struggles your child is having, the triggers, right? And then identify your child's strengths. So what are they good at? Say you have a child that is overly anxious, right? Nervous Nelly. However, they're very calculated and strategic and logical, right? So an idea could be then, okay, so that's their strengths, and they're stressed out, their trigger, and there is like, not knowing where they're going. Well, having them walk around the campus and getting to know the buildings, right? Getting to know where their classroom is before their schedule starts, right? Printing out their schedule, planning out their stuff the night before are great ways to help that sense of not feeling in control, right? So you're teaching your child to identify what's within their control and what they can do. Also, by them walking around campus, they're walking. So that's a great way to ease anxiety, just taking a walk. So for you as a parent, I really recommend that you know the resources at school and you can suggest them to your child, but don't try to take over the situation. And this is not coming as a form of judgment whatsoever, but sometimes it's hard. As a parent myself, I often want to try to fix the situation for my daughter. And you know what I'm doing? I'm taking away her opportunity to learn. I'm also taking away her opportunity to problem solve and the opportunity, right, for her to build resilience. So we want to stop doing that as parents, because we're seeing the Gen Zs come in and they're lower on resilience because they didn't have opportunities to fail. They didn't have opportunities to figure things out. We need to embrace that and be like, hey, I am here to support you, to listen to you. We can brainstorm ideas, but this is you. This is your life. So what do you want to do for yourself to help yourself? So I hope this is a little helpful when it comes to dealing with the transition and assisting your child. Now, things that are important to remember, I'm going to share as a professor standpoint for parents, is you can't reach out directly to professors, right? So I, as a professor, cannot release your child's grades. I can't speak on behalf of your child, right? I can't release any information about your child. Now, it gives that opportunity for the child to build autonomy. Now, here's what you can do. You can tell them to find at least a professor, an advisor, a staff that they trust, a trusted adult, right, that can be there to help them as resources, right? So that's supporting your child versus taking over. Because all the parents that are freshmen that sometimes email me, I can't disclose information without the child's permission. Now, you don't want me also asking in class, say asking Luke, hey, your mom emailed me. What do you want me to say to your mom, right? No, because this is no longer high school, right? So it's really important that we kind of let our children go and figure things out, but just don't drop them, right? So make sure that you're right behind them. So if they need you, you're like that resource there for them. You're that support, right? But you're not giving them all the answers. So let's start to recap ideas. First, have them come up with their own plan of how to address their emotions. So emotional regulation, right? Have them find strategies to distract themselves and learn more about campus. When they talk about their feelings, do not take on their emotions, let them express them. Do not dismiss their emotions, right? Listen. So sometimes it's hard as parents to just listen because we would just want to fix it. So all you do is just be like, sit with it, take a deep breath and be like, you know what? That makes sense. I would be homesick too. Or I felt the same way when I went to college. And then you zip it, zip, 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 zip. Do not start sharing your college stories and everything. That's not what they need in the moment. They need someone to really listen, okay? So it's called my 3-to-1 rule. So you listen 3 times more than you talk, right? So listen to your children. Accept their emotions. Don't transfer your own feelings, right? Don't try to save them, support them. And I know I'm saying this and it's very hard sometimes, but this can be the key for them to being successful their freshman year, first semester, okay? Now, other tips that I shared is having a plan, creating their own structure. So morning, night routines, knowing where classes are, having a printed out schedule, maybe buying them a planner, right? I know students use their phones and their computers, but you know what? They don't ever use those calendars. I ask them all the time, who uses Google Calendars? I see like one hand up. So they're not using the calendars. Telling them that using a calendar is very important, right? Maybe creating these resource, I would call these resource toolbox where you send them some maybe books, tips, agendas, anything that'd be helpful for them, right? Without telling them what to do, right? So creating maybe toolboxes of things that could be helpful. So maybe you're like, well, I don't have time to like send them or ship them anything. You can always email them or text them, right? And the other thing that I touched upon that I kind of want to come back to is don't try to save your child, right? Taking care of everything and doing everything for them. Let them figure it out, giving them a template or a roadmap, being like, hey, I heard that health services is this way, or I heard that, I teach in the school business. I heard the school of business is this building. Maybe you should go up there and talk to someone, right? So guiding them without telling them what to do can be really helpful. Now, last but not least, I want to touch about the mental health. There's a difference between being homesick, right? Sad, depressed, right? Having a panic attack, right? And the reason I'm saying that is if your child is depressed, having panic attacks, cannot get out of bed, cannot function, it's really important that then you step in, okay? Or that they know where the resources are to seek the help they need to take care of their mental health. Often my freshman students, we talk about where's the health center, who can they talk to, but that's that trusted adult that's gonna help them, right? You need to help them identify those people. Their resident directors, their RAs are great resources, right? These people are trained. They're student orientation leaders, right? Those are also great resources, but they're resources, they're not trained professionals. So make sure you know the trained professionals on campus. And I'm just saying that because the level of depression and anxiety has increased over the years on college campuses. We don't talk about it enough, but I'm a huge advocate of mental health. It's really important to check in with your children to make sure that they are doing okay. And I know everyone's doing that. And I'm talking about this because it's good to see if your child's behavior has erratically changed, that you kind of figure out what you can do to support them. And so that's why it's good to know the resources on campus so that you can assist and help them get there. And also that maybe you have a safe word with your child, or you create a strategy that if they need to exit because things aren't going really well and it's actually impacting their mental health and they need help, that they use that strategy and it's between the two of you and you know what to do, right? Just like sometimes at work, right? We have to have an exit strategy. We have to have a plan B. It's good to talk through this with your children. So I hope this is helpful as they start off their freshman year. And if you have any comments, tips, additional ideas, please post them in the comments below. I wanted to create this video just for my parents, right? Because I can't imagine what you're going through. I'm the professor on the other end. I do know that I take your children's education, mental health, and just their person as a whole extremely seriously. And I want to make sure that they have the best time because college can be amazing. It's an opportunity for them to figure out who they are, what they want to do, right? Embrace them for once, right? They don't have to just stick to what they always knew. They get to figure out who they are, and that is magical. So we don't want to take that away from them, but we want to create that structure, right? So they have the opportunity to explore and to discover who they truly are. So if you like this video, please like the button. I think it's on the left or right. Wherever that button is, just click it. And subscribe to our channel for additional videos, episodes, and all things feelings. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again.